contemporaries. General survey, and thus derive both benefit and pleasure from history. First occasion the actual cause of their crossing must be stated without comment. For if I were to seek the cause of the cause and so on, my whole work would have no clear starting point and principle. The starting point must be an era generally agreed upon and recognized, and one self-apparent from the events, even if this involves my going back a little in point of date and giving a summary of intervening occurrences. For if there is any ignorance, or indeed any dispute as to what are the facts from which the work opens, it is impossible that what follows should meet with acceptance or credence. But once we produce in our readers a general agreement on this point, they will give ear to all the subsequent narrative. It was, therefore, the 19th year after the Battle of Aegospotami, note 387 BC, end of note, and the 16th before that of Leuctra, the year in which the Spartans ratified the peace known as that of Antarcides with the king of Persia, that in which also Dionysius the Elder, after defeating the Italian Greeks in the battle of the river Hellespont, was besieging Rhegium, and that in which the Gauls, after taking Rome itself by assault, occupied the whole of that city except the capital. The Romans, after making a truce on conditions satisfactory to the Gauls, and being thus contrary to their expectation reinstated in their home, and as it were now started on the road of aggrandizement, continued in the following years to wage war on their name. They fought first against the Etruscans, then against the and then against the Samnites, whose territory was that of the Latins on the east and north. After some time, the Tarentines, fearing the consequences of their insolence to the Roman envoys, begged for the intervention of Pyrrhus. This was in the year preceding the expedition of those Gauls who met with the reverse at Delphi and then crossed to Asia. Note, 280 BC. End of note. The Romans had ere this reduced the Etruscans and Samnites, and had vanquished the Italian Celts in many battles. And they now, for the first time, attacked the rest of it, not as if it were a foreign country, but as if it rightfully belonged to them. Their struggle with the Samnites and Celts made them veritable masters in the art of war, and after bravely supporting this war with Pyrrhus, and finally expelling himself and his army from Italy, they continued to fight with and subdue those who had sided with him. When, with extraordinarily good fortune, they had reduced all these peoples, and had made all the inhabitants now held by certain of their compatriots. But very much the same fortune had befallen the two cities on the Straits, Messini and Reggio. Certain Campanians serving under Agathocles had long cast covetous eyes on the beauty and prosperity of Messina, and not long before the event I am speaking of, they availed themselves of the first opportunity to capture it by treachery. After being admitted as friends and occupying the city, they first expelled or massacred the citizens, and then took possession of the wives and families of the dispossessed victims, just as chance assigned them each at the time of the outbreak. They next divided among themselves the land and all other property. Having thus possessed themselves so quickly and easily of a fine city and territory, they were not long in finding imitators of their exploit. For the people of Reggio, when Pyrrhus crossed to Italy, dreading an attack by him, and fearing also the Carthaginians who commanded the sea, begged from the Romans a garrison and support. The force which came, 4,000 in number, and under the command of Decius, a Campanian, kept the city and their faith for some time. But at length, anxious to rival the Mamertines, and with their cooperation, played the people of Reggio false, and eagerly coveting a city so favourably situated, and containing so much private wealth, expelled or massacred the citizens, and possessed themselves of the city in the same manner as the Campanians had done. The Romans were highly displeased, yet could do nothing at the time, as they were occupied with the wars I have already mentioned. But when they had a free hand, they shut up the culprits in the city and proceeded to lay siege to it, as I stated above. When Reggio fell, most of the besieged were slain in the act of assault, having defended themselves desperately, as they knew what awaited them. But more than 300 were captured. When they were sent to Rome, the consuls had them all conducted to the fort, who there, according to the Roman custom, scourged and beheaded.
Oh, this doesn't sound really good at all. Oi, oi, oi.
Wait to take. Let's take the tank, this tank. Is that Trixie tank? You know what I'm saying, man. Yo, I want to be the most. Talk about how I told you the most. I be shit, that's my word. Oh, you know, that's the whole burner of the stone. I twist my tools and I blow it up with vision and vision. Make it hypnotics. Yeah.
So Tessa's mic, this is the worst. Looks like I like it.
Well, yeah. I came to see you because I understand you're the only one who's gonna need brains in this rotten outfit. Brains in this rotten outfit. The only one who's gonna need brains in this
Trying to mix music and draw at the same time. Feeling both.
I understand you're the only one who's gonna need brains.
Oh dear, oh dear.
Because I understand you're the only one who's gonna need brains.
Oh dear, oh dear, oh dearie, oh leery.
I understand you're the only. I came to see you because I understand you're the only one who's gonna need brains in this rotten outfit.
Oh, here we go. You can live. She heard nothing from him or about him for a year. When she began to hear gossip and to read newspaper stories, she did not believe at first that they referred to Francisco D'Ancona. After a while, she had to. She read the story of the party he gave on his yacht in the harbor of Valparaiso. The guests wore bathing suits, and an artificial rain of champagne and flower petals kept falling upon the deck. She read the story of the party he gave at an Algerian desert resort. He built a pavilion of thin sheets of ice and presented every woman guest with an ermine wrap as a gift to be worn to the occasion, on condition that they removed The delay.
in tempo.
Yeah, I'll blame that.
Melted.
Blame that. I blame that.
She read the accounts of the business ventures he undertook at lengthy intervals. The ventures were spectacularly successful and ruined his competitors. But he indulged in them as in an occasional sport, staging a sudden raid, then vanishing from the industrial scene for a year or two, leaving Dunconia Copper to the management of his employees. She read the interview where he said, "Why should I wish to make money? I have enough to permit 3 generations of descendants to have as good a time as I'm having." She saw him once at a reception given by an ambassador in New York. He bowed to her courteously, he smiled, and he looked at her with a glance in which no past existed. She drew him aside. She said only, "Why? Why what?" he asked. She turned away. She knew she had made a mistake by betraying two. She knew she had made a mistake by betraying. She knew she had made a mistake by betraying too much intensity. She turned coldly, removed her coat, and threw it aside. He did not rise to help her. She sat down in an armchair. He remained on the floor at some distance, but it seemed as if he was sitting at her feet. What was Sebastian's swindle? What was my full intention? That is what I wanted. He chuckled, as if she had asked him to explain in conversation. A complex science requiring a lifetime of study. You knew that the San Sebastian mines were worthless, she said. You knew it before you began the whole wretched business. Then why did I begin it? Don't start telling me that you gained nothing. I know it. I know you lost $15 million of your own money. Yet it was done on purpose. Can you think of a motive that would prompt me to do it? No, it's inconceivable. Is it? You assume that I have a great mind, a great knowledge, and a great productive ability, so that anything I undertake must necessarily be successful. And then you claim that I had no desire to put out my best effort for the people's state of Mexico. Inconceivable, isn't it? You knew before you bought that property that Mexico was in the hands of a looter's government. You didn't have to start a mining project for them. No, I didn't have to. You didn't give a damn about that Mexican government, one way or another, because you're wrong about that. Because you knew they'd seize those mines sooner. What you were after is your American stockholders. That's true. He was looking straight at her. He was not smiling. His face was earnest. He added, "That's part of the truth. What's the rest?" It was not all I was after. What else? That's for you to figure out. I came here because I wanted you to know that I am beginning to understand your purpose. He smiled. If you did, you wouldn't have come here. That's true. I don't understand, and probably never shall. I am merely beginning to see part of it. Which part? You had exhausted every other form of depravity, and sought a new thrill by swindling people like Jim and his friends in order to watch them squirm. I don't know what sort of corruption could make anyone enjoy that, but that's what you came to New York to see, at the right time. They certainly provided the spectacle of squirming on the grand scale. Your brother James in particular. They're rotten fools. But in this case, their only crime was that they trusted you. They trusted your name and your honor. Again, she saw the look of earnestness, and again knew with certainty that it was him when he said, "It's that anything he did would be done superlatively. No, he said, I don't find it amusing. Your brother James and his friends knew nothing about the copper mining industry. They knew nothing about making money. They did not think it necessary to learn. They considered knowledge superfluous and judgment inessential. They observed that there I was in the world and that I made it my honor to know. They thought they could trust my honor. One does not betray a trust of this kind, does it? Then you did betray it intentionally. That's for you to decide. It was you who spoke about their trust and my honor. I don't think in such terms anymore. He shrugged, adding, I don't give a damn about your brother James and his friends. Their theory was not new. It has worked for centuries. But it wasn't true. There is just one point that you overlooked. They thought it was safe to ride on one plane because they assumed that the goal of my journey was wealth. All their calculations rested on the premise that I wanted to make money. What if I didn't? If you didn't, what did you want? They never asked me. Not to inquire about my aims, motives, or desires is an essential part of their theory. If you didn't want to make money, what possible motive could you have had? Any number of them. For instance, to spend it. To spend money on a certain total failure? How was I to know that those mines were a certain total failure? How could you help knowing it? Quite simply, by giving it no thought. You started that project without giving it any thought? No, not exactly. But suppose I slipped up. I'm only human. I made a mistake. I failed. I made a bad job. He flicked his wrist. A crystal marble shot sparkling across the floor and cracked violently against a brown one at the other end of the room. I don't believe it, she said. No. But haven't I the right to be what is now accepted as human? Should I pay for everyone's mistakes and never be permitted one of my own? That's not like you. No. He stretched himself full length on the carpet, lazily, relaxing. Did you intend me to notice that if you think I did it on purpose, then you still give me credit for having a purpose? You're still unable to accept me as a bum? She closed her eyes. She heard him laughing. It was the gayest sound in the world. She opened her eyes hastily, but there was no hint of cruelty in his face, only pure laughter. My motive, Agnes? You don't think that it's the simplest one of all? The spur of the moment? No, she thought. No, that's not true. Not if he laughed like that. Not if he looked as he did. The capacity for unclouded enjoyment, she thought, does not belong to irresponsible fools. An inviolate peace of spirit is not the achievement of a drifter. To be able to laugh like that is the end result of the most profound, most solemn thinking. Almost dispassionately, looking at his figure stretched on the carpet at her feet, she observed what memory it brought back to her. The black pajamas stressed the long lines of his body. The open collar showed a smooth, young, sunburned skin. And she thought of the figure in black slacks and shirt stretched beside her on the grass at sunrise. Pride. The pride of knowing that she owned his body. She still felt it. She remembered something specific. The excessive acts of their intimacy. The memory should have been offensive to you now, but wasn't. It was still fun. Without regret or hope. The motive that had no power to unaccountably, by an association of feelings that astonished her, she remembered what it conveyed to her recently. The same sense of consummate joy as his. Francisco, she heard herself saying softly, we both love the music of Richard Hallett. impervious to shock. He wasn't. But she could not attempt to guess why, of all the things she had said, this should be the first to reach him. It was only an instant. Then he asked evenly, "What makes you think he has?" "Well, has he? You know that there are only 4 Halley concertos." "Yes, but I wondered whether he had written another one." "He has stopped writing." "I know." "Then what made you ask that?" "Just an idle thought." "What is he doing now? Where is he?" "I don't know. I haven't seen him for a long time." "What made you think that there was a 5th concerto?" "I didn't say there was. I only wondered about it." "Why did you think of Richard Halley just now?" "Because he felt the controls cracking a little." "Because my mind can't make the leap from Richard Halley's music to Mrs. Gilbert King." He laughed. "Oh, that. Incidentally, if you've been following my publicity, have you noticed a funny little discrepancy in the story of Mrs. Gilbert? I don't read stuff. You should. She gave such a beautiful description of last New Year's Eve, which we spent together in my villa in the Andes. The moonlight on the mountain peak, blood-red flowers hanging on vines in the open windows. "See anything wrong with the picture?" He said quietly. "It's eyes we should ask you that. And I'm not wrong." "Oh, I see nothing wrong. Except that last New Year's Eve, I was in El Paso, Texas, presiding at the opening of the San Sebastian line of Taggart Transcontinental. As you should remember, even if you didn't choose to be present on the occasion, I had my picture taken with my arms around your brother James and the Signor Board. Remembering that this was true. Remembering also that she had seen Mrs. Bale's story in the newspaper. What does that mean?" He chuckled. "Draw your own conclusions." "Dagny." His face was serious. "Why did you think of Halley writing a 5th concerto? Why not a new symphony or opera? Why specifically a concerto? Why does that disturb you?" "It doesn't," he added softly. "I still love his music, Dagny." Then he spoke lightly again. "But it belonged to another age. Our age provides a different kind of entertainment." He rolled over on his back and lay with his hands crossed under his head, looking up as if he were watching the scenes of a movie farce unrolling on the ceiling. "Dagny, didn't you enjoy the spectacle of the behavior of the people's state of Mexico in regard to the San Sebastian mines? Did you read their government speeches and the editorials in their newspapers? They're saying that I am an unscrupulous cheat to his defraud. They expected to have a successful mining concern to seize. I had no right to disappoint them like that. Did you read about the scabby little bureaucrat who wanted them to sue me?" He laughed, lying flat on his back. His arms were thrown wide on the carpet, forming a cross with his body. He seemed disarmed, relaxed, and young. "It was worth whatever it's costing me. I could afford the price of that show. If I'd staged it intentionally, I would have beaten the record of the Emperor.
That was the end of that record.
What's burning a city compared to tearing the lid off half in 20 minutes?"
And no teacher should ever be allowed to teach transgender to our children without correction. Another one of our highest priorities on earth. A Republican Congress will be to stop left-wing censorship and to restore free speech in America, which we don't have. We don't have free speech. Go out and sign up now, by the way, for Truth Social. Anybody on Truth Social?
Government
It's not. But it's much better than Twitter. You see what's going on with
people to
Twitter?
be
Twitter's
patient
not
and
working
put up with
well.
hardships.
Frankly, if we considered a
were they?
50-50 party. I don't believe it. They cheat like hell on elections all over
He
the
noticed the
country,
way he
and
fingered
they're
the
really
marbles
good
in
at
his
it.
hand.
Everywhere the
He was not
Republican
conscious.
Party has the chance,
He
we
was
must
looking off
pass
into some grim
critical
distance.
election integrity
But she
reforms,
felt
including
certain that the
universal
action was a
voter
relief.
ID, citizenship
Perhaps as a
confirmation.
contrast.
No more
His
fake
fingers were
drop
moving
boxes
slowly,
by Zuckerberg
feeling
and
the
these
texture
people.
of the stones
No
with
private
sensual
money
engagement.
pouring into local election
Instead
offices.
of finding it
And
crude,
ultimately, we
she found it
need
strangely
same-day voting with only
if she
paper
thought so.
ballots.
as if sensuality were not physical at all. It came from a fine discrimination
Same-day
of the
paper.
spirit.
France
And
just
that's
had an
not all
election,
they
big
did.
country, 35 million people.
There is some
Same-day
more
voting.
There's
All
that
paper
housing
ballots.
settlement for the workers
The election
of San
ended at 11
Sebastian.
o'clock. They had
It
to
cost
vote. That was it.
$8
Nobody
million.
walked away complaining.
Steel frame houses.
Right here in
running
Pennsylvania,
electricity and
Democrats are still
refrigeration.
trying hard
Also
to
a school, a
rig
church,
your
a
elections.
hospital, and a
Act
movie theater.
77
A
clearly
settlement
violates your
built for
state
people who had lived in
constitution,
hovels made
encouraging
of driftwood
widespread
and stray
abuse
tin cans.
of mail-in ballots.
My reward
And
for
your
building
radical
it was to be
state
the
Supreme
privilege of
Court just
escaping with my
violated the
skin.
Constitution
A
the
special
second
concession
time
due to the
by
accident of
overturning
my
a
not being
decision
enabled
by
by
an
the state
unbiased lower court.
That worker settlement was
Republicans
also
in the
part of
state
it.
legislature need to
A
get to
model
work
example
immediately
of
to kill
progressive
Act
state
77 by a
Well,
state
the steel frame houses in
constitutional
England,
amendment.
so him they created a paper for
We are just 2 months away from the most important
the
midterm
plumbing pipes,
election,
as well as most of
in
our mining
American
equipment
history.
were purchased from dealers
and we
with no
need a
close supply of the
landslide
city
so
dumps
big
at
that the
Buenos
radical
Aires.
left just cannot rig it. You know, the more we win
I
by,
give
it
those
gets
pipes
harder,
enough
harder,
time.
harder, harder.
And the electric
They
system.
can cheat a lot, but once you get to a
The
certain
wonderful
level, it
roads
gets
we
very
graded up
hard. This is
4,000
the
feet
year
of rock for the people
we're going to
saving
take
Mexico.
back the house. We're going to take back. We're going to take back.
Without foundation. The braces
Take
of
back
bad
America.
the one for mountains. The church, I think, will say.
And in 2024, we are going to take back our magnificent.
He was startled to see that his face had a look of infinite relief.
Together we will fight for more jobs for Pennsylvania families, fair trade for
Through
Pennsylvania
neglect or
workers,
through stupidity.
and more Pennsylvania factories forging more products stamped with those beautiful, beautiful words, made in the USA. Right? Made in the
He
USA.
exalted his safety.
We will shut down Biden's border disaster, reinstitute our strong
Happening in the world.
We
You
made
understand all the things he said. You can't laugh about.
policy. I witnessed that.
You of all men, you
Remain in
should fight.
Mexico. You think it was easy for me to get remain in Mexico
And those who make world looting
from Mexico,
possible.
but
The Mexican planners and their kind.
I said, you don't give it to me, you're gonna pay big
Smart
tariffs
and
and big
dangerous
costs. Oh,
there.
we'd love to give it to you.
Never mind.
Strengthen the patriots of ICE and Border Patrol, their patriots and their grit. We will again end catch and release. We will end chain migration. We will end the visa lottery. And we will clamp down on illegal immigration, just like we did less than 2 years ago when we had the safest border in our country's history. We will stop the crime wave in Democrat-run cities. We will give our police the power they need and the respect they deserve. And we will not take legal protection away from our police. These maniacs want to have the police officers go out and hire lawyers so they can defend themselves. We will restore law and order in America, and we will override governors that don't look for law and order. We will hold China accountable for unleashing the virus upon the world. We will protect innocent lives. We will defend our Constitution.
While another part of the
Defend the
mind
Second
trying
Amendment.
to
And we will put you all into jail,
The good tradition of your family. That thing always left the fortune greater than the one who received.
We will restore
My
patriotic
ancestors had a
education to
remarkable
our
ability to
schools,
live the
and
right
we
thing
will
to the right
teach our children to love
for
their
making the right
country,
investment.
honor our history,
For
and to
investment
always
is right.
respect our
Depends on what
great
you do.
American flag.
For instance, if it sounds about right, talking $15 million. If
In
these 15 million
conclusion, our
wiped out
MAGA
40 million
movement,
belonging to
make
private
America.
transplant market, 35 million belonging to stockholders such as
In
James Patrick
conclusion,
Morgan,
respect our
of
great
millions, which would be
American
lost in
flag.
secondary transportation. That's not a bad return on the investment.
In conclusion, respect our great American flag.
Do you realize what you're
To
saying?
love their country,
Oh,
honor our history,
shall I
and to
beat you to it and name
always
the
respect
consequences you were going to
our
approach them
great
for?
American
First, I
flag.
don't think the private transcontinental will
To
retire
love
from its
their
loss on
country,
the preposterous
honor
sums
our
of
history,
outgoing.
and to
You think it's
always respect our great
the sentence about
American
Germany
flag.
it's about the Olympic Railroad left in it.
In conclusion, our MAGA movement, Make America Great Again, is by far the greatest political movement in the history of our country.
The memory of the fate
Together we are standing up against some of the most menacing forces, entrenchments, or seditious opponents of democracy. Despite great outside dangers, our biggest threat remains the same, sinister and evil. But no matter how big or powerful the group, the radical left never gives up. This nation is not allowed to bend. This nation
Thanks for watching, y'all.
This is your home, this is your heritage, and our American liberty is your God-given right. From Allentown to Johnston, from Harrisburg to Pittsburgh, and from Philadelphia to Scranton, PA, we stand on the shoulders of American legends who poured out their blood, sweat, and tears for our freedom. They were so great.
I mean, is it still? What does it mean if I guess I don't really know what hosting means. Wind. Winger. Scarnan. I mean, is it still? I don't know how to this source.